Hello, Ghost Hunters. Wait, this isn't Phasmophobia? Just after Phasmophobia's big update, this small indie game called Obsideo quietly joined the ghost hunting genre. Before I get too far into this game review, I would like to give a word of caution. This game is very rough around the edges. It is probably the most alpha version of any game I have played in the last year. This game is considered early release, like so many other games, but it is very early release. If you buy into this game anytime in the next few months, you are for certain signing up to be a beta tester. So keep that in mind if you are considering giving this game a try. Before I get into the likes and dislikes of the game, let me explain how you play. Games start inside the house in a room that is not safe. All of your items are provided for you. You will use your typical ghost hunting devices to determine what parts of the exorcism you need to perform. Each of these devices that you get evidence with will make your exorcism more difficult. Checking these off in your journal will not give you clues to your ghost type. You must determine your type of ghost based on its interactions. For example, if your ghost has flicked the light switches on or off, opened doors, turned on the kettle, thrown bloody knives, and broken plates, you may determine your ghost is a demon. These are all very common interactions though, so make sure you check all ghost types before determining your ghost. Once you have done this, you can choose your ghost type in your journal and then add the items listed to your exorcism. For a demon, for example, you must now include a crucifix and a candle. If you are successful at your exorcism, it will look something like this. Once you are done, you can return to your starting room and request pickup from the radio. Okay, so what parts of this game were fun or showed promise? Probably my favorite part of this game is the ghost interactions. There are so many things that the ghosts are able to do in this game that it would be nearly impossible to list them all. Some interactions are more common than others. In my experience, it was quite common to find books pulled from the shelves, broken plates, paintings pulled from walls, but the possibilities with some of these interactions, I could not wait to see some of this stuff happen. If you are choosing to play a ghost hunting game, chances are you have played Phasmophobia. And this is the major part where this game differs from Phasmophobia. To determine your ghost type, you are not looking for evidence from your ghost hunting tools. You are looking for evidence from interactions with the ghost. This means that every interaction you have with the ghost will help you determine what you are dealing with. Your ghost hunting tools will give you evidence to help you determine how to perform your exorcism. The more evidence you get from your tools, the harder the exorcism becomes. However, each ghost type has items required to help with the exorcism, so it's still important to identify your ghost type. This is complicated by ghosts sharing different interactions. For example, if you find bloody knives sticking out of the walls, this could be multiple different ghost types. Another interesting aspect of the game is the heart rate monitor. Each player is equipped with a watch that reads their heart rate. Players must keep this number low if they want to avoid being hunted by the ghost. The only way to lower this number is to run outside the location and wait. Thankfully, it drops fairly quickly and does not require long periods of time waiting outside. Something else I really liked about this game was that players' flashlights change to red when the ghost is hunting. It is easy for players to recognize danger due to this obvious indication that the ghost is hunting. Speaking of flashlights, each player is equipped with one automatically and it does not take up an inventory slot. So what parts of this game did I feel were lacking or were parts that players would likely not enjoy? First, changing your key bindings is not really part of the game at the moment. For those of us who like to change our key bindings, this will be annoying and bothersome. It does have inverted y-axis, but it is somewhat hidden and apparently only works some of the time. This is something that I am certain with time will get ironed out, even though at the moment it is definitely obnoxious. Next, there are way too many items required for every hunt. This pile of gear is somewhat daunting and definitely confusing. Despite the tutorial explaining each item, it was not immediately clear what items I would need for the hunt and what items were needed for the exorcism. And since some of the ghost hunting items are later used in the exorcism, it blurs that line even more. Each ghost type has a huge list of possible interactions. While I love that there are so many overlaps, so you don't necessarily narrow it down with just one or two, looking through the journal to determine what your ghost type is going to take you some time. Thankfully, you can just sit outside and safely thumb through the journal while you are figuring out your ghost type. But every second you are outside is time you are not inside to witness those interactions. which do happen when you are not inside. I would guess that those more identifying interactions are rare enough that you will miss out if you are not paying close attention. But I cannot imagine that most gamers are going to go through this pile of information to figure out their ghost type. As for the ghost hunts, well, by the time the ghost starts hunting you, expect a lot of deaths. I have not figured out a good way to survive these just yet. If the ghost sees you, you can almost guarantee you will die. Even hiding from the ghost does not seem to work. Outrunning the ghost is an option if you happen to have a way to loop around and do not find yourself at a dead end. At the moment, the game supports only 1 to 2 players, but the developer does intend to extend this to 4 players soon. Probably the biggest problem with this game is the tremendous amount of bugs. While this was expected, players should know going in that they will experience problems. As I mentioned at the start, this is very early release. It is not polished, and it will have all sorts of bugs plaguing it for quite some time. And finally, the gameplay is confusing. While there is a tutorial to explain each item, it does not clearly explain how to perform the exorcism, and that is without a doubt the hardest part of this game. Most of this will come with time, but a lot could have been done to explain this in the tutorial part of the game so that players have a clear understanding of how to successfully perform the exorcism. Certainly, players will join in this game with their knowledge from other ghost hunting games and quickly find themselves confused. So, should you get this game? I have high hopes that it will only get better. The developer seems dedicated to providing a fun and spooky game for players and has been great about communicating with his community. I personally filed a bug report and got a response from the developer within about 10 minutes, and an hour later, it was fixed and slated for the next update. And the price point might be a bit high for what you're getting, but it's definitely within the range that you would expect for this type of game. At release, it was $11.99 with a 10% off promotion. So I personally paid less than $11 for this game, and I feel like it was worth it. I think given some time, the developer will have a decent game on his hands. I have no plans to return my copy of the game. I expect that I'll play it again in the future as development irons out some of the more annoying issues. Have you tried Obsideo? Did you love it or loathe it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, happy hunting.